happens. And then, you know, I organized the whole thing along with Steve Bannon here. And I want to tell you something. If Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, it would have been armed.
She's obviously very happy with herself. I mean, when is she not? The fans also seem to love the idea that she fantasizes about being in charge of Antifa super soldiers, I guess, leftist provocateurs that would be armed in this case and definitely would have won, which she doesn't define, but clearly means that they would have successfully overthrown the government. That in her mind would have been victory. Anyway, she has more to say about her theory.
See, that's the whole joke, isn't it? They say that whole thing was planned, and I'm like, are you kidding me? A bunch of conservatives, Second Amendment supporters went in the Capitol without guns, and they think that we organized that? I don't think so.
Okay, so as people in the chat are noting, not a lot of applause for that. Weird call on her part, but anyway, so in her mind, right-wing protesters always have guns. The fact that they didn't have guns means that they weren't right-wingers or something, even though she definitely thinks they're right-wingers, which is why she's trying to help them out so much in their legal troubles. So again, still confused there. But she believes that if they had brought guns, then they would have won. They would have succeeded, which would both be a good thing to her mind and make sense to say that they would have what? Killed Congress, killed the vice president, murdered all the Democrats. And what would the victory look like? Then Trump would declare martial law, like the military wouldn't intervene, or in your mind are this pack of hillbillies with AR-15s gonna take out the military? Obviously, it's difficult to know because she's an absolute moron, Francesca, but what do you think about her Handmaid's Tale fantasizing?
I just think it's incredible what she's wearing as she's trying to pass over this like coup plot. She's just got like this like velvet black dress with a big slit in her bright blonde hair. It's very like MAGA Miss Piggy. No disrespect to Jim Henson, but that's what she's given me right now. And I think it's ironic because she and Steve Bannon did plan January 6th. Like, I don't understand why she's washing her hands of the fact that she was giving tours to the insurrectionists weeks beforehand, that Steve Bannon is on tape discussing what they're gonna do, which is declare victory no matter what. He and Roger Stone are all totally on board. They know that this is gonna happen. They know what's going down. But then it's like, oh, we're gonna actually win. Yeah, no, and finally, they were armed. They were armed. Yeah. There were people armed with whatever it was, like, not firearms, mace.
No, they did find a few guns in cars, by the way. But yes, there were also, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, we know they all had guns, right? Like, we know people were packing. Like, we know that from the fact that they weren't actually able to access the rally beforehand, and Donald Trump wanted to take away the mags, as he said, or any kind of security, so they wouldn't have to so they could go through. But we totally know that they were armed. That maybe they didn't, whip out their guns and start firing, but they were armed.
Yeah, 100%. Here's a possible explanation for why they didn't win by using their guns. Maybe they were rightly terrified that they would be put down. Like, if they had actually started shooting people, I mean, look, that would have been bad before they were stopped. They probably would have killed each other. They probably would have killed more Capitol Police, more than the Capitol Police they did kill and maim, and that's already a lot. Maybe they would have killed some members of Congress. It would have been devastating. And then they definitely, every single one of them would have been killed or captured. Can we be clear about that? She's an absolute moron. I know that because she poses in ads with guns and fantasizes about shooting pigs from a helicopter, whatever, people think that she's Rambo. Do you guys understand that she doesn't know a single thing about the military or how this would go down? Let's just be very clear about that. So look, the implications are irrelevant because it didn't happen. And when the next insurrection comes, I'm sure she'll be a participant, but I have a feeling Donald Trump will still be in charge. So I don't think we have to worry too much about the hypothetical she's sketching out. What we can focus on, though, is what is literally happening. she's standing on stage at a young Republicans meeting or whatever, fantasizing about how they could have won in that case. And she feels very comfortable saying that that would be a win. Very comfortable, like imagining gunning down the Capitol Police while still claiming to be, pro law enforcement or whatever. Now, the White House has put out a statement saying that this is a slap in the face to the Capitol Police and victims' families, which it definitely is. Reminder, there was a reason why the families of these cops didn't want to shake Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy's hand, especially Kevin McCarthy, since he seems ready to spend the next couple of years doing whatever Marjorie Greene wants. Maybe that's why you're getting the disrespect from the families, but it's just the latest reminder of why she's completely unacceptable to be holding office. The idea that when the Republicans take over, she's gonna get her congressional committee assignments back is absolutely sickening. We're gonna be hearing more speeches from her of this sort of thing. We're stuck with her, unfortunately, for at least a couple more years.
Yeah, haven't you learned your lesson? Like, hasn't Kevin McCarthy learned, like from the midterms, honestly, that like whatever extreme MAGAism, Marjorie Taylor Greeneism, nobody wants that. Yeah, and this is where I think a lot of folks differ. Like, I do believe there are gettable Republicans. I'm not gonna Nancy Pelosi Republican whisper, all the good ones come out. But I do think that going down the Marjorie Taylor Greene route is a losing strategy, and I think we've seen that. It's not to say that the next strategy isn't as insidious and dangerous, a la Ron DeSantis, but it is at least less openly calling for violence and less openly denying 2 + 2 = 4, more votes equals you win an election.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.